if Elon Musk was a Bitcoiner,
Smart.
no, I have nothing but the utmost respect for what he's doing and what he's doing for humanity.
I'll give him. I mean, he's Elon Musk. Like, who am I to say anything? But the fact that he's been so duplicitous around Bitcoin puts up a big red flag for me. I just think he's full of shit in that department for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'll sort of dodge that conversation because I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and who am I to judge, by the way? But that's just my opinion. So,
but as an individual who is trying to push forward, you would think him and Bitcoin are made to be together.
Exactly.
And so there's a question mark as to why that hasn't happened yet. And I severely hope it does, or sincerely hope it does, and severely. But you could have had X with the Lightning Network embedded in it, and everybody on X having sats in their pocket. Yeah. Now, if he was a Bitcoiner, you think about the step change that we would then see in terms of adoption, education, motivation, all of these different things. But this is going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet.
That's right.
Right. But we're going to start seeing those breakouts.
Yes.
There's going to be a business which is not the size of X.
Right.
Which incorporates it in some way. Right. But the technology has to be pushed far enough. You have to have somebody in those businesses who is in a position of decision-making, authority. Right. So typically either, founder owned and founder led, or SMEs, small, medium enterprises. But then your reach for each of those is still quite small, right? They're not X, with the hundreds of millions of people. But, you can see just like picking off as more and more people get orange pilled, that you'll have this burst of, second order, third order orange pilling, which will happen in all the people connected to that through these applications, which then have Bitcoin integrated in them naturally.
Right.
And it's just inevitable. Yeah. It's just totally inevitable.
So when you say that, sorry, continue if you like, but the word inevitable, we use it a lot in Bitcoin circles. Like, Bitcoin is inevitable, it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
I think with more nuance, we're saying something like this tool serves the self-interest of every individual to such an extreme that people will naturally adopt it because for that very reason. Right? It's like a Darwinian type of effect.
You can't outcompete it.
Yeah, so I like the analogy to gunpowder, right? It's like if you don't adopt gunpowder, well then you're just going to get wiped out. Like there's no like, do I want to adopt it or not? It's like you either adopt it or you die.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. It's not obviously lethal, but your purchasing power will get vaporized in anything else. So if you don't adopt Bitcoin at some point, well then you're going to be naturally selected out of economic existence, at least. Something like that, right? Like, we're not saying it's a foregone conclusion. It's flirting with a dangerous line, actually, because if you really think it's inevitable, then it's like, well, we all just kick back and relax and we don't do anything. Obviously, we're not doing that. We're educating, we're building businesses.
Well, there are people who inevitably in the community who would do that. I've got my Bitcoin on lockdown. I'm at the beach. Call me when it happens, guys.
Right.
Like,
but that doesn't characterize the Bitcoiners that I know.
There are always going to be individuals who are more motivated, less motivated, etc.
Of course.
Stages in life. When I say inevitable, it is a logical. I was going to say logical inevitability, but I'm using it to define the word. But
progression. Maybe.
It is. Just probabilistically, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
because of the lived experience that you and I have both through, and everybody at home has been through.
Yeah.
Because are you ever not going to be a Bitcoiner?
No. And I don't know anyone, by the way, and I can say this unequivocally without exception. I don't know anyone that's become a Bitcoiner and then not become a Bitcoiner. I mean, I guess you could say there's like the Roger Veres or whatever that became a Bitcoin Cash shitcoiner, but I don't know. Did they get bought? Like, was that a social attack? Who knows?
I don't know.
The people that I've personally interacted with that I know have engaged in this course of study, no one comes back.
Yeah. So if that's the case,
it's so like not only is it a financial singularity, but it's like an intellectual, philosophical singularity. Like you go one direction, and it's all roads lead to Bitcoin.
Yeah. So what then happens over the passage of time? Everybody
it's
gets
mathematical, there. Right? Yeah.
So everybody gets there, even from an intellectual perspective. let alone thinking about the competitive advantage that then
that it
puts
affords
rocket
every
fuel
individual.
under that for people who are intellectually curious, motivated, and then maniacal about driving that forward for everybody else and bringing everyone along with them. That's an unstoppable trio. And so that's what I mean by inevitable. It is a foregone conclusion.
And those people are the smartest, the most disagreeable, typically very well heeled. And if they're not well heeled now, they're going to be well heeled in 4 years, because that's what Bitcoin does. And it is a very asymmetric and increasingly asymmetric tilt, right? That the Bitcoin team just keeps getting bigger and badder
and wealthier
and stronger and wealthier. And it's like, how are you going to compete with that? What could possibly compete with that?
Nothing can.
Even like absolute violence, like the coordination of all the nations in the world, like would have a really hard time competing with that.
You would, because the rational thing to do is join it.
Just to cooperate. Yeah. Exactly.
And you know,
and all the purchasing power gets its tentacles into all the political structures, so it like starts to tilt those
and
things
we're seeing
in its
that already.
favor. Yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.